Hey, kumusta? It's been a while, and I know your favorite Oppa BI, has been so busy lately. So I forgot to post the video that I mentioned like probably 2 weeks ago. It's all about the average of quotient. So now, without any further ado, let's dive right in. And as you can see here, I've created a very simple table. This contains like 6 rows. The first row in here is column A has 2 and B 1 value. Then 2 0 null null 2 null 0 1 and null 1. So the challenge is we need to get the average of the quotient. So like 2 divided by 1, that would be 2. 2 divided by 0 is 0. And of course, this is like infinity, and this one also. But sorry about that. 2 divided by 0 is infinity. So anything divided by 0 is infinity. And then 0 divided by 1, of course, is 0. And so the challenge is we need to make this row as important as the other rows. So imagine turning this null values into zeros. Okay. So but the challenge is that we do not need to edit the original raw data. So it should come as is. So if that's the case, um, let's start by creating a new table. This is a measure table so that every solution will be placed into a neat table. And there you go. We have our measures table. So before we dive right in directly to creating different solutions for this one, let's start with a quotient. And so normally what we would do is divide the sum of, let's say, table A, and then sum again of table B. And if the quotient is an error, um, use the alternative result, which is 0. And so when we put this in here, oh, sorry, because the table has already been formatted. So like this one, we have here 6 because the total sum of those 3 rows, 2 plus 2 plus 2 is 6. Null plus 0 plus 1 is 1, so 6 divided by 1 is 6. This one is 0 only, divided by 1 is 0. Therefore, the subtotal or sub average is um, 0. And here we have 3 null numerators, I mean 2 numerators, and then the sum would be 1. So null divided by 1 is null. And so the final answer is 2. And so why is that? Because remember the original formula that we have here. So getting the sum of all of these is 6. And the sum of this is 3. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. And so we know that this is wrong, right? And let's start writing solutions. So I think the basic is, um, let's say, solution number 1. Okay. And then I would write average x. So we need to get the average, right? So we'll be using average x, and then I would write, let's say, which table do I need to summarize? Therefore, that is table. And then what do I need to summarize? So normally I would say divide. This is not yet complete. I will be showing you a solution and how to fix it. Okay. And then of course 0. So we're done with the divide. We need to close average x. If I created this solution and I would add it on the table, still this is wrong. Why? Because it's not considering these three rows in here. And so what others would normally do is probably use if or switch, but in this case I would like to use coalesce. So coalesce is like a shortcut for a if an if statement that uses the true or false of checking the value of the expression. So here's the simple explanation for this. If the value or the result of this divide is not true, then return 0. But if it's true, return the original result of this formula. Okay? And so, having that, let's apply this formula. And as you can see here, now this is considered correct. Although that we have here two numbers with null um, divisors, and the dividend is a null and 1. So both of these rows would produce 0, and therefore the average of those two zeros is 0. And for this is correct. And this one, this is also correct. Why? So 2 divided by 0 is 0. I mean, null is 0 because of the condition that we have set in here. And then 2 divided by 0, again, it's not infinity in our case, but it's 0. We change the value. And then this one, 2 divided by 1 is 2. So therefore, 0 plus 0 plus 0 divided by how many rows? 3 is 0.67 for the sub-average. And so for the 6, 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 plus 2. So that would be 2 divided by how many? By 6. So 2 divided by 6 is 0.33. That is correct. So we now have solution number 1. Again, so this is the formula. I would therefore, let's say, put this in here, and then let's bring down the divide formula. Let's move this to here, and so this is our formula. Now for solution number 2, um, this is like a mathematical approach, because let's say I would almost be using the same solution. Let's say let's write solution number 2, new measure, and I will be removing coalesce. But knowing that if I would add 0 to this formula, which is a plus 0, and this row also b plus 0. So anything, even if it's null, null plus 0 will result into 0. B plus 0 will also result into 0. So, and based on our condition, if it's an error, if it's an infinity or uh, undefined, it will be returning the 0 value. And therefore, we do not need this, because this is part of the coalesce function. And now we have simplified our solution. So this is solution number 2. And let's see if this will also produce the same result. So we'll check in here. Okay. So for solution number 3, I would like to use, let's say, copy this. This one is a long format. It's like we'll be using average x, and then summarize. Okay, so we'll summarize the table. So average x, and then I will insert summarize in here. So in the rule of summarize, um, we will add first the columns that we need uh, to be included in the summarization of the table. So I want to, let's say, include table A, table B. The reason is because I want to like retain the original table and then calculate the um, should we say the quotient. And so let's call this, for example, quotient. Then this is the operation to be used for the divide function. This is part of this. Now this is closing the summarize formula, and then I'll put a comma. Sorry about the pronunciation. Anyway, so let's get the quotient. So what's happening in here is that I want to let's say create a summary table with a column calculated as quotient, and then use the this formula, and after that I want you to get the average. That's why it's average x of all the quotients inside the table. And so let's apply. This is solution number 3, of course. Okay, and it's the same result, right? Okay, so how about this time? Um, Almost the same formula. So I'm just showing you techniques um, or how to write formulas. And so for solution number 4, I would want to use the variable um, function, which is bar. And let's say, let's call this bar um, Q table, which is my quotient table, is equal to, okay. But I would remove average x from here. This will just be my summarized table for now. And then, since I already have my Q table, I can say use the return function and then get the average x of the Q table using the quotient. So it's almost the same. It's like um, much better way of writing formulas. It's like creating variables and then simplifying the final formula. And so that is solution number 4. Okay, so we have used coalesce. We have used the plus 0 solution. We also have used the summarize and average x combination. We also use the var and return plus the average summarize and of course the average solution. And some others would be like if I would uh, be writing a formula. Sometimes I use switch through. So is it possible to create switch through um, and average x? Let's try. So new measure. This is solution number 5. Okay, so of course, the first one would be average, and we're summarizing table. And let's start the average x. Sorry about that. Should be average x. And then let's start the switch through statement. In Excel, switch through is also available, but there's also this cool if function in the Excel. So not in here. So we'll use switch through, and from here, I would say probably use is number. So I'm checking if column A's row, I mean the row specific row that I'm currently evaluating, if the number, I mean the value is a number, and then based on that, I will create um, the uh, the answer or the formula, or I mean if I will be using expression or immediately a replacement as zero, something like that. So let's say is number. So there's a lot of ways to do this. I'm using an example of functions that are not being used let's say frequently, and another is number. And then so with the combination of both checking of is number, probably I would add one more condition, and that would be probably our dividend. It should not be um, equal to zero. So it's either positive or negative, so that it would avoid the infinity um, answer. And so if it's not, if it satisfies the condition, I want to divide A and B. So you might be asking, why am I um, creating so many solutions? This is a way of like checking your um, formula writing skills in Power BI. So the next condition that I would want to evaluate, if so we already created a condition for um, checking, or I mean both numerator and the denominator to be a number, and it's not zero for B. So therefore, the only remaining conditions that are not evaluated is if, for example, column A is a number and B is blank or zero, and then if A is blank or A is zero, and the denominator is a number but it's not zero, and the third one would be A is equal to blank, and or A is equal to zero and B is equal to um, blank, or B is equal to zero, then therefore the answer is still zero. So therefore, I think the only way to, I mean, let's evaluate before creating any additional conditions. What if I would just say, if the first conditions were not met, just return zero. Let's see if this will already satisfy um, the, should we say, average of these numbers. So let's see. Let's close the average x and add solution number 5. Oh, it did. So this shortens our solution. Instead of writing 3 more lines, probably, um, because we or the other conditions will also be returning zero. Uh, we therefore consider that for anything that is not met in this condition, we return zero, and the answer is correct. But let's say for solution number 6, let's be more specific. I would use the same condition, but I would write two or three more um, options. I mean, the rows that will be evaluated by the switch through statement. So let's remove the zero first, and let's say the next condition would be is number, and then a, and I would probably use and, of course, since I will be evaluating two values of b is equal to blank, or or symbol, b is equal to 0, therefore return 0. The second one would be two values of a. Um, that's why there's an open parenthesis, and then a is blank, or a is 0, close the parenthesis, and let's pair it with um, yeah, two conditions for b. That would be and, therefore open a parenthesis is number, and therefore we'll evaluate b, and another condition would be b is not 0. Therefore, let's close the second pair, and let's return 0. Okay, 0, then comma. The last statement would be um, almost the same, but let's just copy this. And the only difference is that instead of this is being checked for number, we can say not is number, or b is um, equal to blank. So I think we have satisfied now all the three conditions, and then the final would be for anything that is not part of this um, uh, evaluations, the return 0. So just to be sure, let me before returning 0 for um, all of these, like for this one, let's return a statement a, b, c, and then d, so that we would know which is working. And then let's say this is e for the 0 in here. Okay. Okay, solution number 6. Sorry about that. And there you go. Oh, it's because of the average functions. That's why. So to be able to see these working, if I would remove um, this is a table, so I'll copy this. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think this is a very good way to show you how to evaluate tables before being summarized using average x. If I would go here and let's say, see here, evaluate, I'll remove this top and then I press enter. But in here, you have to be, let's say, using table or without the single quotation to work. And let's say I'll copy this, or I'll select, I'll copy this and then remove this and then select all the A's, Control F2, then paste, Control V, okay, and for B, let's say table, okay, hmm, I see. So this will not work because this is not like a summarize um, a statement. So if I would say summarize, so let's undo first, undo, undo, undo. Okay, so you'll control Y. Okay, and I'll put everything in here under summarize, then table, then okay, switch through. Now that we have summarized for this table, I'll be adding A and B, and then as mentioned earlier, let's go call this the quotient column. And so we have to close the summarize function. And when I run this, there you go. So for this, the condition A is working. This condition A as well. Condition B. For this one, this is the first condition, but this both are considered as a number. So it returned 0. 0 divided by 1 is 0. This is also for the first row. That's why. So therefore, um, what matters in here is condition uh, D from our uh, last row, condition B, this one, and so any other, it would be flagged as in here. So sometimes this is the way of checking your formula if this is correct or not. So having this summary right now, I'll go back to our original formula, which is solution 6, and replace everything as 0 for those conditions. So this is solution number 6 without summarizing, but we have here averaging the result for all the rows in here. So let's see if it will work. There you go, the same. So that's solution number 6 using average x and switch through. So we have average x and summarize, average x and coalesce divide, average and the plus 0 solution. So we can write more of this. Like I've written like I think 12 solutions. Probably I would use average x and then summarize, but the quotient would be using an if statement, and also if an if statement in the numerator. So let's try that. That would be a short one probably. So let's say in here, new measure, solution number 7. Number 7 is equal to, so I would use average x, and then let's say I would get the average of the table, and then a formula using divide. And like I said, um, an if statement. If A is equal to blank, return 0, else return A. Now that we have a complete if statement for the numerator, for the denominator, I do not need because I have the divide um, alternative result 0 for the solution. Let's try this. Okay, let's check. It's the same. How about an if statement in the numerator? But probably it's the same for the denominator, so let's not include that. How about using the quotient function? Yeah, why not? Solution. So solution number 9 would be new measure. Let's use the quotient. So solution number 9 is equal to, then we say average x, and then off the table, of course, then use quotient. So, but this time, let's add 0 so that for every row, it will return 0 plus the answer so that there will never be a null answer. Okay, and when we apply this, put it solution number 9. Ta-da! Still, the answer is correct. So we can write more solutions. Like I mentioned, I think I've written 12 solutions before, but it's up to you. So the more you know your functions, the more you know your math, those should we say uh, I mean the order of the uh, the what do you call this? The operators being used. Remember PEMDAS, so that's parentheses, exponent, multiply, divide, addition, and subtraction. So you'll be able to arrive at the correct formula and answer. And I don't forget the plus zero technique. So sometimes I'm using that plus zero as a simple solution instead of um, create using different functions like coalesce. But for me, coalesce is the most simple one because it's like an if statement that checks the value if it's true or false, or if it's like present or not, not being having a blank value. So yeah, practice more. I hope you have learned something from this average of quotients, like my master class for formula writing. Just joking. I mean, this is just a basic exercise for trying your ability to write formulas arriving at the same results. Okay, so enjoy.